Okay, we're here doing the sessions. I have on Jay McCaslin. You guys know him as Cone from Sum 41. This is probably one of the weirdest interviews I've done.
I get that.
It's a weird one to like prep for. Obviously interviewing John was weird. I actually shot the pilot episode of this was with John, and he was like, that was terrible. Because I just asked him about things that people kind of already know about. I don't know. Anyways, Jay and I go way back. I've known you since I was about a teenager.
That's right.
Been a while.
Yeah. You were friends with, you went to the same school as my sister and me.
Yeah.
And you used to come over to my house. I think you were younger than a teenager, weren't you?
Maybe. Well, no, because I didn't meet Krista until high school. So it would have been like early teen. Well, how old are you in high school? Like 14? So, oh my God, that's like a long time. I just like quickly did the math and it's like, wow, that's a long time that has passed.
Yeah. And then you dated one of my best friends.
I did. Yep. I know.
And then you dumped him.
You know what? What's funny is as I was getting ready for this, I'm like, wait, are we going to talk about Matt or not?
Sorry.
No, I don't mind. I mean, hopefully he doesn't mind. Do you think Matt cares?
No, he's married now too.
Yeah, it's such old news. It's a long time ago. He's got kids. I'm married and have a kid. I dated Matt for a while. Your wife is one of my best friends in the whole world. We happen to have the exact same hands, which is a whole other story for perhaps another podcast.
You guys are weird with that.
I know. Okay, so what's going on with you? You're about to go back on tour. You are launching a new radio show. You're doing a little bit of everything right now. How are you feeling?
I don't have the same kind of production that you have with my radio show, but actually I got some behind the scenes people. But yeah, so for first thing is first, we are going back on tour. I leave on the 25th. We're doing a co-headline through the United States with Simple Plan, who we've never toured with before. They're from Montreal and we're from Toronto. We used to not get along. This goes way back to the 2000. We had a bad thing happen, like a big rift between us, and then from then on, for years and years and years, even when we were on MTV and we're doing big interviews, we always used to like shit talk each other. Like it got pretty like vicious at one point. And I remember like in Italy, we almost got into a fight with them backstage, and it went on for years and years. But after a while, you start to think back and like, now that I'm, in my 40s, you kind of think back, it's like, why are we fighting? And I don't even remember why we started fighting. I had to kind of read up about it. Like I had to research my own band and say, Sum 41 fights with Simple Plan. I was like, oh yeah, that's why we're gonna fight.
Wait, so why did you guys hate each other? What is the history there?
So what had happened was, I guess their drummer wrote for a magazine. This is pre All Killer No Filler, pre our first big album. And I don't even think they had an album out yet. No, they didn't. And so he was kind of a writer for this magazine in Quebec. And I guess he gave our first EP, Half Hour Power, he gave it a really bad review.
Wow.
And didn't like the album cover and all this other stuff. So, it was all fueled by a record company. Our record company was like, oh, look at this. This guy plays in this band and he gave you this bad review. And then he's like, you got, and we're like, whoa, that guy. And so from then on, we started like kind of saying stuff about them. And then they caught wind of that and they started, what's going on with Sum 41? Why are they trashing us? And so they started saying stuff about us. And then we just kind of went back and forth for years. But then, like I say, that was in 2000, that was 22 years ago.
Oh my God. Yeah. Long time ago.
I think we're over it now.
Yeah, 100%. So have you guys had that initial conversation to just smooth it over and be like, oh, I guess, are we best friends now? Maybe let's not push it with best friends, but you guys can be like coexisting on tour together.
Yeah, I think, Derek just did a song with them. He I think
he is real buddy with them.
I think he's in. Yeah. I haven't seen those guys.
Derek's actually the new lead singer for Simple Plan.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. No, but I haven't actually seen them in a long time, but I think the last time I saw them, it was kind of on the verge of being okay again. Okay. I think it just kind of, as you get older and you start seeing each other and you're not really mad at them anymore and they're not really mad at you, it just becomes awkward. So like every time we
100%.
would see each other, it would just kind of be like, hey, hey, and you kind of just be awkward about it. It's like, why aren't we friends with these guys? And you don't know. It's like we didn't know why. And so now I think, this is the first time I'm going to see them is on tour, and we're going to do a long tour. We're doing 2 legs through the States. Hopefully we get along. I'm sure we will, because it's a long tour not to. But yeah, I think it's going to be fine. And, I think, they're nice guys, and, I think it's going to be a great tour. And you're coming, right? You're coming to Cincinnati.
I am. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to come to the Cincinnati show. I think we were talking that I have to come to your guys' sound check so that I can bring Nora so she can check things out. We'll put the baby to bed, and then it's game on. So I will definitely be keeping my finger on the pulse, my eyes open to see if there is any real rift here between Sum 41 and Simple Plan. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to come see you guys. I've been able to see you guys, a ton, but just in generally when you guys would come through Vegas, I would come out and see your guys' show. It's always a really good time. You guys put on a hell of a show. How do you prepare to go on tour, especially this time around? It's been a big chunk of not being on the road. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm a little stressed about that because normally, we don't have a lot of time between tours. So it's like a week or two. So I'm just kind of in tour shape all the time. But we haven't played since the end of February 2020. Other bands doing shows, Green Day did that big stadium tour last year. It's like bands have been doing stuff, and we just haven't. We've been recording. We have a double album that's coming out later on, but we haven't played any shows. So really, I'm kind of getting into, and this tour is going to be an anniversary tour for our first full-length album, All Killer No Filler. So we're playing all those songs, which I'm kind of happy about because back then we weren't very good. Like we now
you can do them more justice.
Yeah, I started relearning some of the songs we haven't played for a while, and I was like, oh yeah, right, 4 chords. Okay, this is going to be easy. I think the hard part's going to be is just the stamina, because when you get on stage, it's like wrestling. You have to get ready for going into the ring. It's like we're going into the ring. And I started running. I'm not a big runner, so I've started running.
Wait, what is your workout schedule? So for people that don't know, Jay's wife is a personal trainer, and she is always in impeccable shape. I know she's usually up your ass to try to get you working out. So what does she put you through? Does she get you ready?
She tries to, but she's a real trainer. I don't want that. I can't deal with that. I just need to go on my own terms. I need to have my own program that I do. She has boot camps in the park. That's not for me. I can't do it. So
you should join them. I hear they're popular.
Yeah, I don't know. Then you got to chat with other people and.
Fair. Yeah, I have no interest in that.
I'll talk while you're working out. Do you go to gyms?
Sometimes I do, but I've been recently so we had a gym in our house when we were in Vegas, and I had a gym that I went to there, but now in Cincinnati, we have this weird garage storage area. So I'm turning that into a gym. There's really just a treadmill and a couple of resistance bands in there. But I like to I want to put on my headphones. I don't want to talk to anybody, especially when your heart rate's up and you're I can't have a conversation right now. It's horrible.
Yeah, so we have a little gym in our basement, but it's I don't want to be beside anyone and have to talk to them while I'm doing any of that sweating and huffing for I'm a little out of shape right now. That's why I'm running, and I'm constantly trying to work out because I'm oh my God, we got 2 weeks till I got to go on stage. So I don't want to be gasping for air and trying to talk to Joe next to me. It's it's not for me. So I'm just kind of doing it on my own time. And
what is your gym attire? I don't think I've ever seen you in gym clothes.
Jean jacket, No, I got some runners.
Okay.
I got some shorts and a t-shirt.
Well, your nickname has pretty much always been Skinny J, which not that helps with cardio all the time. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but trying to keep cardio up. It's I always hear wrestlers say that too. It's no matter what kind of training you do, nothing prepares you for when you actually get in the ring. And I imagine it's the same for you guys.
Yeah, it's almost for us, you kind of have to, because, with singing and playing, you kind of almost have to go on your run and sing while you're running. And that will we have actually a guy on our street that's an ex-opera singer or something like that. And he just does opera. He's on a skateboard. riding skateboard around the neighborhood and doing opera. And I was like, that's actually a good idea. It's a great idea because, everyone's like, oh, there's the opera guy coming down the street. But I'm like, that's actually brilliant because he's actually training real for the stage. Because when you get on, like you said, when you get on stage and you're moving, your adrenaline's going, when you start to go to sing, it's not, you haven't trained for it. Like you can only train for it by running and singing at the same time.
I remember hearing that Beyonce's dad used to make her do that. I remember reading this in like an article years and years ago. I'm like, oh my God, that makes such perfect sense. So I always think, not that I'm singing when I'm on the treadmill, but I'll mouth the words. That's smart as far as I get with it. But I know, smart man. I mean, if Beyonce does it, you should be doing it.
Yeah, and I don't, but I should be.
You and the opera guy jump on his, whatever, whoever's training him, get on with that.
Got a longboard, I could slip on the back.
Yeah. Okay, this double album, talk to me about this. And how do you guys what is your process like of even putting together an album like this? And then for you guys to prepare to take this out and tour it?
Yeah, it's still in progress, but what had happened was, our band through our evolution, the first album, Half Hour Power, was like, I guess what's called pop punk, is what the media pigeonholed us. And so, through the years, we're big fans of heavy metal as well, and metal and harder music. And we just got better, and we wanted to go in that way. And so our next couple albums were a little heavier. And then, we went back to pop punk again. And then we've had all these kind of genres of music. So I think, Derek was writing a lot of songs over this pandemic, and with no thing of like, I want to make this kind of album, just writing songs. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like, he sent me all these songs to start to play bass on. And I was like, wow, they're drastically different. Like, you're going from like a song like ours, like In Too Deep, to like thrash metal. Like, it's like really different. So all of a sudden there was a lot of songs, 16, 18, 20 songs. And so we started talking about, what are we going to do with all? You can't kind of put the pop punk ones, the popular ones, next to these kind of metal songs. It wouldn't work on a record. So the idea came up to have a double album, having the popular pop punk ones on one album, and then the other side, like,
which is Heaven, right? And then Hell's all the heavier stuff.
Yep. So it'd be Heaven and Hell, be the pop punk, and then the heavier stuff is Hell. Yeah. So I think, it's nothing we've ever done before. It's really exciting. And especially in this day and age of Spotify and streaming and YouTube, is like, not a lot of people are venturing into this double album territory. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully.
Gosh, but you guys have a lot to play on this tour. I mean, if you guys are doing like it's a fat lip, no, all filler, no killer. All killer, no filler. I was not
filler. It's all killer. It's all killer.
I've had about 16 coffees today, so everybody bear with me here.
You're not the first person, believe me, to say it's.
Oh my God. But you guys have a lot to play. Like, what a discography.
Yeah, I mean, but this one, like I said, it's easy in the way of we're really just playing all killer, no filler. And with a couple other songs sprinkled in, because All Killer was only half an hour. We got to play an hour. But yeah, with other shows, especially festivals, it is tricky, because especially what country you're playing in Europe, they like albums that did really poorly here. So it's like, okay, so they like that album, so we should play more of those songs. What are we going to play in America? It's really strange. You kind of, now at this point, after 22 years, you kind of have to really kind of almost research yourself and be like, what songs do well in these countries, and then play those.
Does like the label tell you guys stuff like that when they look at like streaming and what's coming out of where? Do they obviously must be doing some intel on this to let you guys know?
Not really. I think it's more like with Instagram and all the social media, you can kind of gauge it with fans. Like, fans are always typing in like, oh, play this song. You haven't played this in a while. Why don't you play this song? And then you start to see this more and more. And you're like, okay, maybe we should play that song.
Huh.
So it is hard though, because it's like, I don't know how many, 8 albums now or whatever. It's, we all have our favorites as well.
It's so crazy. Like just for me getting ready to like do this interview, like I will say, growing up and seeing you guys get the success you did right off the bat, like I remember that being like such a huge deal for everybody in Ajax, Ontario, Canada. It was like, wait, what's happening? These guys are doing what? I remember you guys like, didn't you when you first signed, like have like some water guns and you were like driving around and like water balloons and just like pranking people and stuff. But I feel like for me, seeing you guys have all that success definitely gave me more like courage to go, shit, I want to go do something as well. These guys from Ajax went and did this thing, like maybe I can go do something too. But how much do you look back on like being like that kid from Ajax? I mean, you still live in Toronto. Your family's in Ajax. You get to spend a lot of time there. You're the only band member that is still in Canada, right? Dave is as well, yeah?
Dave's in Whitby.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we still lived that with our parents, right? So it was strange.
Yeah, like little babies.
Yeah, when we got signed, we were 19 years old, and I do remember. Well, what was happening was we had sent out songs to all these record companies, and they weren't paying attention. Like certain songs, like 4 songs to send out to record companies, no one was paying attention to us. So we were trying to figure out like how are we gonna, stand out, and how are we gonna get people to pay attention to us. So we made this little video, which you're talking about, where we went around Ajax and in cars and did drive-by shootings with water guns, and like basically kind of and egged houses and all this stuff. And we filmed it all and edited it into this little video with our songs behind it, and then sent out the same songs to the record companies. And now everyone loved us. They're like, oh, I like this band now, but they're the same songs that they had heard and said, we don't like this band.
Yeah.
So then we had, then it was kind of a whirlwind, because then we had every single record company in the US coming up to Toronto to see us play. And it was weird because we were just barely legal to drink too. We were only 19.
Yeah.
And
you had to dip in to your mom and dad's, get that boxed wine, right?
Exactly. Hi guys. So then it was kind of like, it seems so long ago now. It seems like it's so far gone, but I do remember it being just like this, there it is. Like, this is the dream that every band dreams of, and you guys are getting it. But the other thing was, it was so much pressure at the time too, because now we're getting signed to Island Def Jam, and now we got to go make a record, and now it's got to be good. And now we got to have hits, and they weren't just saying like, oh, we love you, just come with us. They're like, we want hits. And so there's a lot of pressure, and only being when we recorded the first album, we weren't legal to drink in the US, so we'd go to the US and go on tour and have to like try and get the other bands to buy us beer. So it was a strange time. And it was a fun time though. It's like I said, it's kind of like that, what every band dreams of, we kind of got.
It's so cool though, looking at the longevity that you guys have had. I mean, to be putting out these 8 albums, to be going back on the road. You guys have had such an amazing career. And it's so cool to think of like, these kids that, it's funny. I'm sure anyone listening to this is like, he's from 41, we get it. But like, for me, it's really cool to like see what you guys have been able to do with your whole careers and just keep things going and to keep things changing. And now looking at this new album to see you guys kind of go back to your roots with some of that pop punk vibe.
Yeah. And I think what people don't understand is, I think I'm like you, like I'm shocked that it happened for us and all this other stuff. Like it was a big deal, I think. And for you too, like you came out of Ajax too, and you went to the WWE and the score in Toronto. Like that's a big thing for someone coming out of Ajax, because there's nothing that came out of Ajax.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are the thing out of Ajax that it's funny, like looking at your guys, like looking even on like the Sum 41 Wikipedia, it's like from Ajax, Ontario. I don't know if mine says Ajax or it says Toronto. But if I know that's what I want to look up, because you guys are very Ajax centric, that if I say Ajax, it's that Sum 41 land. That's like all you guys, no matter who I tell you, like, isn't Sum 41 from there?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. But nothing did come out. Like when we were growing up, you never heard of anyone coming out of it. No hockey players, no baseball players. Nothing came out of Ajax. So I think that's kind of the shock, was like, well, the band's from Ajax. Nothing ever happens in Ajax.
Yeah.
And nothing did happen in Ajax. There wasn't even a goddamn movie theater when I was growing up in Ajax.
I know. Now they have a casino. Shit.
Yeah, I know. So it's kind of, and I think that's what drove people like us to do music, and probably you to do your thing and like broadcasting and stuff, because there was nothing to do. It's like,
true.
So you have to pick something. Is like, you go smoke weed with your friends and play music in the basement.
Yeah.
kind of what we did, you know.
Go hang outside the 7-Eleven and see what was happening around town. And then, yeah, go back to your house and try to be creative in some aspect. Let's talk your fashion, because I feel like your fashion is underrated. You always have a good fashion game. How do you put your outfits together?
Oh my God, Renee. I don't know. You know what I do? Literally what I do is I think, what's Shannon gonna like me in today? You know,
Oh, that's smart.
if I'm going out for dinner, I'm always like, is this good? And she's always like, put on the big black hat. And you know, I have other hats that she hates. So I'm kind of always, you know, talking to her about stuff. And she actually just bought me this new jean jacket.
Oh, hell
So,
yeah.
so a lot of, you know, I do credit maybe her for a little bit of it. She definitely does not hold back if I look bad in something.
Sure. Well, you guys have been together for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, 22 years together,
Jeez.
that'll do that. But you know, the other thing is, I love bands like The Clash. I look back on that era, like that late 70s punk stuff, the stuff that I wasn't really dressing like that in my 20s and stuff, but along the way, I just started really appreciating that look more. And so that's kind of, you know, those are bands that I love. You know, The Clash is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like even on this new tour, I'm doing a spray paint shirt for the tour. And that's very Clash. Like they used to spray paint their shirts all the time.
So you guys like essentially put together like what is like your gear. Like it's like John when he's getting ready to go do a show. He's like, I should get this jacket. I'm gonna spray paint. I'm gonna do this. Like you guys, you have to get like your gear ready for tour.
Yeah, I mean, we can't afford a stylist or anything. Like we're not at that level. You know, some bands tour with stylists. So we just, you know, I think over the years we started.
Which is expensive as all hell, by the way. Like it's like way more expensive, I think, than people like initially think. They're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, what is it, a couple $100? No, it's not. It's very expensive.
Yeah, and like for music videos, we have stylists, and we've had some good stylists for them. But a lot of times, I'm just like, like they bring stuff, and you're like, I would never wear that. So then I even for videos now, I just make sure I bring stuff that I'm gonna like. But yeah, I think our band, like back in the early days, we were like, throw on a pair of Dickies pants and a t-shirt, let's go play.
Yeah.
I think along the way we've started to take appreciation for wardrobe now. You know, just I mean we're men now, so we like, you know, we try and look.
You got to evolve it a little bit. Yeah, no, 100%. Who are some of you guys have played with some iconic bands? Musicians, who are the ones that stand out to you the most that you were like going in, whether it was like you're doing a show together, you're recording together, that you were kind of crapping your pants for?
Well, I would say at the time when we were doing it, I was really into it, but I think years later, it really hit me that it was really, really a once in a lifetime thing. Was we recorded a song with Iggy Pop in 2003. And at the time, I was like, oh yeah, Iggy Pop. I was 23 years old. I was like, oh, I know Iggy Pop. I know Lust for Life. And I know he was in a band called the Stooges, but I didn't at the time even really know a lot of the Stooges stuff.
Yeah.
But it was years later, you know, after that song came out and we were playing as his backing band at some award shows and stuff like that. We ended up playing with him quite a bit as his band, just because he doesn't really have a band. He just kind of gets a band whenever he needs one. But it was years later, I started realizing like, this is the goddamn godfather of punk. Like, you know, and you start to really, I'm like, man, I did a song with Iggy Pop, and you start to sinks in. And so that to me was like probably one of my highlights. Another one would be, we went on tour with Motley Crue for a month.
Oh my God.
And I'm sure everyone's probably seen The Dirt by now.
Yeah.
I like literally, this was in 2005, and you know, we're all metal guys. We know their whole catalog. But like, you know, I guess, you know, some of them were, I guess Nikki Sixx was sober at the time. Tommy was not, and Vince Neil was not. And like with those guys, it kind of was like the grown-up version of The Dirt. Like it was like they were still partying. Like it was shocking. Like every night we would go to Tommy. It was called Tommyland, and we would go to Tommy's room, and he'd have this big stereo system, and he'd be blasting music at 11. You know, it was like as loud as it could go, and everyone's dancing around, and we're kind of in there with our drinks and can't really talk because it's so loud.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm like, this is what it was like in the 80s, just as more of an adult version. You know.
Talk to me about Iggy Pop's body in real life, because Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty insane. And when we did that song with him, he was in his 60s, but now he's, I think he's got to be in his mid to late 70s now.
Yeah.
But we asked him about that during that recording, and we shot a video with him. We were like, what is going on with you, Iggy? Like,
what is this?
We're 23, looking at ourselves like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
And so he does Tai Chi. That's what he told us at the time. He doesn't even lift weights. It's basically like, I don't really know much about it, but it sounds like glorified stretching.
I think it's like stretching and breathing.
Yeah, and that's he said he goes in his backyard naked and stretches.
Of course. Everyone loves a naked stretching man. There's a lot of things to see there, a lot of things to behold, especially if it's a man like Iggy Pop.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one guy that's in his mid to late 70s that you don't mind seeing naked, it's got to be Iggy. Like he just looks insanely good.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so we know each other because I was friends with your sister Krista.
Yeah.
I met you when I was probably, I guess like 14 going into high school. Dated Matt.
Yes, you did.
Sure did. One of your best friends of all time. It dumped Matt. Yeah, sorry, Matt. Love Matt. What a great guy. What an outstanding guy Matt Bran is. Let's just give him his flowers. Good guy. But yeah, okay, so we both went to Exeter High School.
Yes. Which isn't there anymore.
It's not there anymore. So when I was just in Toronto a couple weeks ago and saw you guys, I ended up driving out to Ajax, and I did do like a little mini tour. I did pass Ajax High School. But yeah, Exeter is just simply not there anymore.
It's a Catholic school now. And that Exeter High School, no one knows Exeter High School where we went because it was only around for like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So quick. Yeah. And even our photos that were hanging on the wall, like our graduation photos, is now in Ajax High School.
Oh, that's weird.
Very weird. Yeah.
Because I was the first year when Exeter closed. Exeter closed when I was in grade 11. Then for grade 12, 12th grade for all of you Americans, when we switched high schools, but you were out of school by then. So we grew up in the same town, had a bunch of mutual friends. I was friends with your sister. Your wife is now, one of my nearest and dearest. We've been friends for a very long time. But yeah, just a couple Canadian kids having a time.
Were you as into NSYNC as my sister was?
No, that was all Krista. Okay. She wanted to go to the Pickering Town Center. She was all about going to see NSYNC. Not that I loved NSYNC. Maybe loved is a stretch. I was never like a huge boy band person. Like I didn't lean into it that much, but I think I don't know. I was never a huge Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. I feel like I don't know why I missed that.
Maybe it was a little, maybe you had met my sister when she was already over that phase, or I don't know. I remember my sister was.
Oh no, I knew Krista in that stage.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh yes. Hey, did you know that me and Krista at one point tried to create our own band to ride the coattails of Sum 41?
No, I don't know it.
Oh my God, I completely forgot that happened until this exact moment. Oh my God, it was me.
You were trying to be like, what's that? Nick Carter and what's the little Carter? Aaron Carter.
Oh my God, it was me, her, Holly, and Dina that we were all like, guys, we obviously the next step for us here is if Jay has a success with this great band, maybe we should start a band as well. Unfortunately, the record labels weren't coming to us.
What were you going to do?
We were all singing. I think we were just a quartet of singing.
Oh my God. Well.
Oh my God. These are the dumb things that kids do.
I would love to hear those original songs.
You know what? So would I. Actually, I wouldn't. I would just probably wrap it up from here if those ever got leaked somewhere. I actually don't think that they live anywhere, but very funny.
My sister has everything.
Shit.
She keeps everything.
Damn it, Krista.
Order of everything.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to drop her a line after this and go, listen, delete it all, throw it all in the garbage. But we go way back. I've been to your cottage. I've hung out with your mom a bunch, your dad. I mean, it's all, you've seen my dad a ton.
I'm sure you had your first beer at my house with my mom.
Quite possibly.
Because my
Quite
mom's a
possibly.
huge wino, and she's just given. I remember having my first drink at like 7. It was like Christmas morning. She's like, mimosa? I'm like, sure. That's what we do. We're McCaslins. I'm like,
Oh my
we're
God.
Irish. It's not a tradition.
You know what? My mom was not like a wino, and she's still not. My mom definitely likes to smoke the marijuana, but that's new. That's new. But my mom was always like cool with us having drinks, because I definitely had a drink really early too. I remember being like up at like my cottage and having like a Kahlua with milk, or having like the neck of like a Mike's Hard, or like a, you know, a Caesar or something. Is that just a Canadian thing, or American kids being
That would be a Bloody Mary in the US, I think.
Yeah, I know. I had to keep it straight for us though, that it was a Caesar, which is the superior drink.
100%. It also
100%.
has, it's Clamato, it's different. Clamato juice, not tomato juice. Yeah, whole thing.
People freak out when you say Clamato though, because you say, well, it's tomato juice with like clam juice. And people are like, what? But it's heaven. It's thinner than tomato juice. And it doesn't even like, there's nothing fishy about it. Let me make that abundantly clear. It's like just a little saltier, maybe like a little brinier.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's brinier. There's no Clamato or clam juice and tomato juice, but
yeah, I do think, I think you're right. I think it's better. The Americans just gotta, you gotta try it. You gotta try everything, you know?
Yeah. I know it. You know what? You actually can buy Clamato juice in most grocery stores here now, which I was like thrilled about, that I was like, I could still keep the dream of the Caesar alive.
Yeah,
Thank
I wonder
God.
if it's like just a northern US thing though. Is it down?
No, because in Vegas we had it, and I thought in Vegas that I was like, oh, is it because we're more south that that's the reason why you can get it? But I can get it at the grocery stores here too in Cincinnati. So
Oh, really?
I think it's making its way. However, all dressed chips are not everywhere, which is upsetting, because they have them in Vegas, but I've not found them here yet.
All dressed. That's a weird one. I know the US, they're not doing. I like an all dressed chip.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't besmirch all dressed chips on this show.
The thing about the thing about the all dressed chip though, have you ever looked? You've looked at the ingredients, right? You know, it's like.
Well, if you look, like the front of an all dressed chips bag is what? It's like vinegar, a tomato. I can't remember I think there's like another thing that's on like the front of it.
Yeah, it's a long paragraph of ingredients, stuff that should not be in chips, but it is tasty. I'm kind of like that. I like just potato oil and salt. Plain.
I'll have them all. I've never met a potato that I did not like. Yeah. Okay, so back to you. You also have been producing a ton of other bands, and like in a bunch of different genres as well. How did you kind of just take all that on, and how do you find the bands that you're working with? What gets you excited?
Yeah, the first big thing I ever did was kind of by chance. It was this band called the Strumbellas, and they went on to have like a #1 song in the U.S., Spirits, but I didn't do that song. I did their first. So what happened was a friend of mine just said, come see this band at this bar in Toronto. And I went and saw them. There's like 4 people there, and I thought they were pretty country-ish, like really, you know, alt country, I'd call them, folky. And I was really into that at the time, and I still am. But I was just kind of getting into that kind of style of music, and it had great songs. So I said, let's do 3 songs. I've never really done this before, but I've made a bunch of records by this point. This was probably 2007. So I said, just give me 3 songs, let me try it. And then it worked out great. So I ended up doing their whole album. But I think most of this stuff, for producing, I never really go out and look for stuff. It's stuff just falls in my lap. Like someone will hand me a CD at a bar, or a friend will call me and say, hey, I know this band and they're big Sum 41 fans. They would love it if you could do a song. So that's kind of how it happens. And I like doing it, but what I'm starting to realize is, producing with Sum 41 gearing up now for tour, producing takes a long time. It takes a long time to record an album. So I'm starting to maybe just do like 3 songs at a time or something, and not commit to full albums. But the radio show thing that I'm doing, that one I actually went out and like tried to make happen. That was kind of a dream of mine for a long time. Even back to the mid 2000s, there was a guy on the air who you probably remember, Bookie. Yeah. And, he passed away a couple of years ago, but in the mid 2000s, he was like he's like, Cone, you should really have your own radio show or come on mine and do a segment every week. And I was so busy and I was 25. I was like, I was kind of scared about that kind of stuff. I was like, I don't know if I want my own show. But over the pandemic, I was kind of like, I think I want to revisit this radio show idea. So I started, trying to find radio stations to take my show. And this radio station in Oshawa, or right by where we're from, but they broadcast all over Toronto, called 94.9 The Rock. They picked up my show. It's called Cone's Cave, every Sunday at 7 p.m. And I basically play like punk music and garage rock and heavy metal stuff that, like, if you turn on the radio right now, you're never going to hear that stuff. So I said, give me 1 hour.
Yeah, unless it's like on Sirius or something, right? That's like tailored to that.
That's it. And that was kind of my pitch. I was like, people are going to Sirius to go to Faction Punk or Marky Ramone's station to hear this stuff, but give me 1 hour and I'll play this stuff. And, you're going to maybe get a whole new listening audience through this. And, I have guests on every week. You're going to be one of my guests. And I run into people on tour all the time. Like, we play festivals with crazy bands like Slipknot, and then the next day we're playing with the Foo Fighters, and the next day we're playing with Weezer. So I run into all these amazing bands on tour, and I was like, this would be great to just grab one of them for a second and just do a quick little interview. So that's kind of the idea. And
so who do you have lined up for guests?
Well, right now, so the first week is Ian Desaw from Billy Talent, who I just saw play like the Normo Dome in Toronto. Really good. They played where the Maple Leafs play. Yeah. And so then I have DMC from Run DMC tomorrow. I just talked to Chaos today. Jim from Pennywise, Dickie from the Boss Tones, Noodles from the Offspring. So it's like those kind of bands.
Yeah. And then me.
But, it's perfect. It's perfect because like, you're in the entertainment thing, and everyone's interested to know, like, I'm big on like where the influence came from, like what made you want to do what you do. And so that's kind of what I talk to my guests about, and play like, old tracks, like not singles, like really good album tracks that on the radio, stuff like that. No, I think you're going to be a great guest on my show.
I'm actually really excited for that, because to me, there's something like, I don't know, it's like the romanticized idea of radio in my head, but there's something about it that I just think is like very charming and very cool to be a part of. Even doing like when I do my Sirius XM show, it's like talk radio, but yeah, I think doing what you're doing is awesome. And like an hour, no harm, no foul. It's not too long of a time. You can fill that time easily. And like fun for you to get to explore music through like kind of a different lens.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me was, I think I do listen when I'm in the car. I do listen to the radio, but I do have Sirius XM. And the biggest thing for me when I'm turning on these stations is, and we're on these stations too. So I'm kind of, Sum 41's a part of the commercial radio scene, but it seems like they're just playing the same songs over and over. It's like, this is an avenue for a band like, I don't know, NoFX or Rancid or the Sex Pistols, or, stuff that everyone loves, but you can't turn on commercial radio and hear it. So. Yeah,
which is pretty crazy. I mean, those are all really big bands that you think that you would hear a little bit more of that, but you're right. I mean, even what are like I know rock and like punk are still pretty separate, but you turn on, The Edge or whatever, like any local station is like, even when I'm home, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are still playing the same songs.
Yeah. And you know what? And I don't want to bag on commercial radio at all, but like for Sum 41, they still play Fat Lip and In Too Deep. I'm always, play our new song. Come on, man. That song's 22 years old. And sure, play it, play as much as you want, but I'm always kind of like, it'd be amazing to get the new song to get played,
100%.
Part of my show is going to be doing that too. Like I'll, play the new, I don't know, Face to Face song or whatever bands that I've liked, punk bands that come out with songs that probably aren't going to get played on commercial radio. I'll play it.
Yeah. You get to be like the new Kim Mitchell. Is Kim Mitchell still on radio there?
I'm kind of, Kim actually, I've never met Kim, but I'm a big fan of Kim.
Hell yeah, patio lanterns, baby.
Love Kim. The Americans wouldn't know Kim either.
No, you guys don't know Kim Mitchell. And I mean, listen, if it's like summertime's just around the corner, you're out at a cottage or a cabin, that's definitely like around the bonfire. Play a little Kim Mitchell, get hip to it, know it, lean into it.
Go for soda.
Yes. What are you listening to right now? If we were looking at like your most current playlist, what is on rotation the most for you right now?
There's the band that, because I just went to that Billy Talent show, the band that opened the show is a band from Montreal called No Bro, and it's a band of 4 females, and they are so good, like really good. But it's you know, it's in your face and it's punky, but I'm really into that. Right now, I don't know, new bands. So with this show, like I've been kind of like, I have a master playlist. So I've been listening to a lot of just like, you know, punk music, and I've really gotten into late in life. And I don't even know why it's so late in life, because everyone loves them in the punk world. But Bouncing Souls is like a new one. And the new Hot Water Music album is really good too. So that's stuff, because I've been doing this show, so I've been listening to more punk stuff and rock stuff, and you know, revisiting like bands like the Sonics from the 60s are so good. So like that. So in that world, I've been.
It's really funny that like later in life, getting into stuff that you're like, I know I should know about this, and I should maybe have like a better comprehension of this, but I'm going to lean into this right now. I mean, this one's, everyone obviously knows all Elvis, but I was just like, I'm gonna go through like a big Elvis phase right now. Which, you know, it's always fun to kind of like lean into an artist and like try to learn. Was that me that did that? There was just like a sound that came through. I don't know what that was. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, there's so many popular bands you always hear about, but you've never really heard.
Yeah, you still like a few of the hits. You're like, okay, I know it enough, but like to really take a good deep dive.
Then you got to go to Graceland.
Oh my God, honestly, I would actually love to do Graceland. I have done like going through like Memphis and going to Sun Studios. I've been able to do that, but I've never done the full Graceland. I also am dying to go to Dollywood. Have you ever been to Dollywood?
No, but I am going to Nashville like in 2 weeks for a couple of days to rehearse. So maybe
get out to Pigeon Forge, go and do it.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Graceland, it's cool, but it's actually like you walk in, you're not allowed to go to the bedroom where he died, or I think he died on a toilet in his bedroom.
That is the lore.
Yeah. So you're not allowed to go up there. Everything else is kind of like, it's not as big as you'd think, but there's some cool rooms. I think there's like an animal room. It's all done in animal stuff.
Oh my God.
But it's cool to see. But I think the biggest thing with that is I noticed it's an enterprise now. It's like I bought a pair of socks for like $30. You know? And they have like Elvis doing a little pose on it.
Yeah.
Like, and literally the socks lasted for like 2 weeks, and they got
come on Elvis.
I know, but that's the biggest thing I took away. I was like, it's cool to be in Elvis's house, but it's more about like an enterprise now. You know?
For sure. How much has dad life changed you as a person, and like changed your life on the road, changed you as a musician? You've got your 2 delicious little babies that were great babysitters of my little baby. It was a whole situation when we were at your house the other week.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was.
Yeah, Nora was into it.
She loved it.
I think when we first had Max, we were touring quite a bit right off the hop. I think we started touring when he was about 1, and I think that's the thing is like you really miss home when you have kids.
Yeah.
And so and other things pop up on tour, like dangerous situations, like your bus drivers, you know, you're trying to sleep on the bus and you're starting to hit the ribs on the road, and you're kind of thinking, back then I used to like, you know, you'd worry, but now I'm like, oh my God, if I die, you know, you start thinking weird things like, oh my God, my kids are gonna grow up without a dad, you know, so you're thinking about like weird extreme things like that. And that really goes through my head now. So I'm trying to keep myself safe as possible, not just for me, but like because of my kids. It's you know, it's just that situation now.
I had my first night away from Nora just last weekend, and it's funny, I thought the same thing. I was like on a plane and I was like, oh, imagine John and I were on the plane together, and I was like, first of all, this is the origin stories of all superheroes. But I know you do think about shit like that differently. If you're like around like a reckless, what's that?
Like extreme situations, stuff that you should probably not think about. Like, why am I even thinking about this stuff? I'm gonna be.
You are a hypochondriac as well, though.
I
Let's
am.
just touch on that for a quick moment.
I am. I am. Hey, but I think it's them. Like I was in the Congo in 2004 with the band, and we almost died in a war. I
Yeah.
think after that point, I got bad. Like that's when I started becoming a real hypochondriac, because of this situation I was in when I was 24. But yeah, I think like even with my kids, it's like even if I see one of them climbing something, I automatically think he's gonna fall and break his neck and be paralyzed.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah,
can't help it. Like
I
it's,
know.
then I start thinking, might have to buy a ramp for my house. So how was, I go through all I go through all the situations of what's going to happen when he does that.
Should not be laughing at that, but I love you've gone to like those levels. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Okay,
I think far ahead.
take me back to that time in the Congo though, because that is crazy that you guys were there while like a war was breaking out. What happened?
Yeah, well, yeah, the war, there was a ceasefire. So we went over there, we were in the Congo, to do a documentary on the effects of the war that had happened, where 3 million people had died. It was the biggest war in African history, the most casualties. And no one over in North America knew about it. Like it wasn't mainstream news. Like,
Yeah.
like we're seeing Ukraine right now, which is on the news constantly. This war, 3 million people died. No one was reporting on it. So we were like, well, that really is shitty. Let's try and bring light to this. And so we went over to do a documentary, and it was supposed to be safe. Like there'd been a ceasefire for a year. And, we were interviewing a lot of ex-soldiers and child soldiers, really. That, we talked to people everywhere from 8 years old to 15 years old that had just fought in this war. Like we're given like, here, take a gun, go run in the forest and shoot people. Yeah, while we were there, this general tried to cross the border into Rwanda and was denied access. So he came back with all his military friends and started shooting at the border. And then a whole war erupted, basically. Like it fired back up. And so we were at this hotel, and there was mortar rounds exploding around the hotel, like shaking our hotel. Like they were getting close.
Oh.
And we could hear gunshots. There was helicopters in the air patrolling the area. And we had a guy from Victoria, BC, and he was the only guy with military experience, and he had a bat and a cigar. And he was patrolling.
Oh my God.
And his name was Chuck. We ended up naming our third album Chuck after him.
Oh wow, I didn't know that's what you named it after. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we said to him, we're like, there was 40 of us in this hotel, and we said to him, Chuck, if you get us out of here alive, we're gonna name the new album after you. And he was like, all right. And he smoked and he would patrol around with his little bat, patrol the yard. And then eventually we got these UN tanks to come to the hotel, and we all like ran, covering our heads, jumped in the tanks, and got escorted out to the UN compound, which then put us on we spent the night there, and then they put us on a school bus and took us through town to the airport. And the plane we came in miraculously landed somehow. We ran into the plane and we left. And it was crazy. But the thing that made me kind of upset about the situation was we were lucky that we could leave, but I actually, like, it was a weird feeling. You're like, oh my God, we're out and we're alive and we're safe. But I'm like thinking, we're all kind of looking out the window, like we all started talking like, oh my God, all those people can't leave. Like all these people that live there. And it's kind of like the situation in the Ukraine right now is like everyone's trying to get out, and not to make this too much of a downer thing, but everyone's trying to get out, but they can't because the Russians are, bombing all these places, and people are dying. And that was kind of what it was like for us. We were able to get out, but all the people who live in the Congo couldn't. And it was definitely a worse point in my life.
That was like during a time when like we didn't really have smartphones, so you couldn't just like. Did you get to talk to Shannon at like what was your contact like with people back home during that?
Yeah, I think at the time when we were at the UN compound, finally someone had a phone, and so I think Shannon had already known something. Maybe it was on the news or something. I'm not really.
Oh my God!
Some people, or some, like a radio station was saying something about it, and so I did get to talk to her. Yeah, I actually forget. It's weird to be in that situation because your body is kind of numb and you're not really thinking straight. And none of us like had any water to drink, and like we were running on like 36 hours of just adrenaline, and like you're really in this like state of like it's hard to explain. Like you're just out of body experience. So I can't even remember conversations I had then.
Yeah.
They just weren't real. It's like your body's like in paralysis or something.
Yeah, I mean, not that I've ever been in any kind of a situation like that, but even when I was my mom and I were in Italy, and then we flew into Paris right when they were having the terrorist attacks there. And we just like randomly had to stop there, and we landed, got to our hotel. I turned on my phone, got on the Wi-Fi, and it just started like filling my phone that I was like, wait, what's happening here? Like, weren't sure if we were going to be able to get out of Paris. Wasn't sure what it was going to be like trying to get to the airport. Like, it was such a horrifying time to like, yeah, it's totally like an outer body experience.
Yeah.
It's such a trip.
The whole scary thing about the war thing is that you have no control over anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I watch, like, I'm watching the Ukraine thing happen, is like, I feel so bad for those people because they have no control. Like, the bomb can land at any second. That's what it was like for us. Like, we're in this hotel in this room, and mortars were exploding around the hotel, and we didn't know if the next one was going to just land on our room.
Yeah. My God.
It's just so unpredictable.
Yeah. I know. It's so scary. There's so much scary shit happening right now. Like, even like the stuff that just happened in Brooklyn yesterday. Yeah. I mean, a week ago for when this comes out for everybody, but like, yeah, like everything's horrifying. Yeah. Anyways, it is a very scary world. So, I mean, honestly, like, that is the thing, like, as a parent now, it really does make you look at things so differently. Where you're like, where's my kid? Where are they going? What's happening? Like, it's hard to not be that like hovering helicopter parent, because it's a crazy world.
Yeah, there's this big park in Toronto, High Park, and you probably know it, High Park. And they got this big castle there, and so the kids.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's huge, and I there's been a couple of times where I've lost contact, like eye contact with Max, and I'm like, you start to panic, like, where's my son?
Yeah.
Almost to the point where you start screaming, where's my son?
Yes.
I can't find them.
I've not had that, but so John, the other day, we were out somewhere, and like, I had Nora in her stroller, and I turned to do something, and he just like, he took the stroller and walked away, and like, my heart like literally left my body. It's like, what just happened? And he was like, well, you weren't looking, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. She was literally right beside me. But yeah, it's like that second that flashes.
You know what it is? You know what ruined it for all parents? Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
In that show.
I know. And of course, now they like bring it back on Netflix. Like, guys, did we need the resurgence of this? Though that being said, it's like Unsolved Mysteries. And then like everything on TV is like these murder mysteries and what happened to these people. And like, we all watch them because we're all psychopaths.
That's true.
It's so bad. Okay. So you were starting your show on Sunday, Easter Sunday, Cone's Cave. Well, I'm excited to check this out because, hold on, I have to pull up the app that I use so I don't script the name for it. Because I use My Tuner Radio. So if you're not in Canada, you can use My Tuner Radio to listen to radio stations from other countries, which I actually do that often because it's like, I mean, I like knowing what's happening in like Canadian music. I want to hear what's happening up there. I like hearing the commercials, the whole shebang. So I can listen to you from Cincinnati. I'm very excited about this.
Make requests.
Yes, I know. I'll just be like, I'm going to call in. Did you just take callers? Does it work that way?
No, I mean, it's all pre-taped.
Oh, so. Damn it. Damn. Yeah, totally
Instagram me.
Yeah, I'll Instagram you. And if people want to come see Sum 41 and Simple Plan on tour to see if they are in fact friends, where do they go?
Well, yeah, you can buy tickets on sum41.com. We're definitely going to be friends, I think. I hope.
I think so. I feel good about it. I mean, listen, two good Canadian bands, been around a long time. I don't think you guys got to get in each other's way anymore. Everyone can be cool.
I think it's cool. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Derek did that song with them, and
yeah.
I mean, I think we're over it now. Like I said, I don't even know why we were fighting.
Who cares? Who cares, right?